Are we doing enough to protect women in today's society? And I would argue no. I would argue we're not. I would argue we're going in the opposite direction of the direction that we should be going in. And here's why.
Female inmates being raped by male sex offenders who had conveniently declared themselves trans right before heading to prison. A boy in a dress sexually assaulting a girl in a Virginia school bathroom while administrators covered it up. Female cyclists losing titles to grown men who declared themselves trans and absconded with the prize money. A teenage volleyball player severely injured by a trans player who spiked the ball so hard the girl suffered permanent damage. An obvious male towering over his female competitors, ranked in the mid 500s as a male, annihilating women in race after race. The University of Pennsylvania female teammates who quietly objected were told they should seek therapy, forced to share a locker room with an intact male whose social media posts suggest he becomes sexually aroused by dressing like a woman, a common fetish among male to female trans people. The female swimmers were told, deal with it.
So, if you are opposed to someone who's dressing up and acting like something that they are not, they were not born as, they do not have the chromosomes to be, then you are the one who needs to seek therapy? That makes sense? Look at the chat. Every female in every level of sport should strike if a biological male is playing. Every time. And I agree 110%. I think once they trot a male out there, the women on that team and the women on the other team should exercise their right to not play that game. So I wouldn't say boycott every sport, but I would say the minute a male who's dressed as a female, who's masquerading around as a female, comes onto the court or to the field or whatever, all the women should just walk off. They should not play. They should not participate. We're not going to do it. So that's it. That's all there is to it. We're just not going to participate. Life was never this way until the last 2 years. I don't understand. How don't you understand? The Democrats are in office. That's why. The Democrats are in office. So the Democrats push this liberal agenda. That's what they do. Republicans push a more conservative agenda, which is a male and a female, mom and dad, husband and wife. The liberals push male and male, female and female, all this other stuff. Now the pedophilia thing is coming out. So Daniela says, thank you. America is out of control. Preach on. So let's let her preach on a little bit more.
Every instinctual alarm that went off about the dangers of sharing this vulnerable space with a man was stifled and rejected as bigoted by administrators who would never have to face these circumstances themselves. A few of the co-eds spoke anonymously in the press, revealing their distress over these events, but saying they feared losing future employment if they failed to keep their mouths shut. Riley Gaines stayed silent too, at first. A few weeks later, she found her voice, and when she did, she was attacked, physically assaulted by a trans activist on a college campus, threatened and shouted down, mocked for her tears, and forced by an angry mob into a back room. And she was not the only one. One by one, we met the detransitioners, those brave enough to admit their gender changes had been a mistake.
And we are going to highlight some of those too, the detransitioners, because this is crazy too. Say it louder, please, Lisa says. So we are going to say it as loud as we can. Guys, like and subscribe to the channel. Let's push this out. Let's stop this craziness. Stop this nonsense. It's all nonsense. It's literally insane, this user says. We are currently being led by mental patients. I would agree. Why doesn't the players refuse to play? I agree, Rebecca. They should all refuse to play.
These voices were promptly ignored or shamed. Kids who were just unhappy, anxious, or perhaps on the autism spectrum had been rushed to transition by a system that seemed more about a political agenda than about addressing the patient's mental health. Professional psychiatric associations adopting gender-confirming care as the only acceptable option for children suffering any hint of gender confusion. Hospitals bragging about how much cash they were making on cross-gender procedures, including on teenagers. top surgery, in which their breasts were amputated before their 16th birthday,
Crazy.
forever eliminating their ability to breastfeed.
Crazy.
Kids pumped full of puberty blockers and then cross-sex hormones rendered sterile and incapable of ever reaching sexual climax. Pictures online of young women's gutted forearms, where flesh was harvested to build a grotesque, phony phallus.
I've seen those pictures. I've seen them. If you want to see pictures of the deformity that's taken place, get on Twitter. Get on Twitter and type up any type of trans surgery, stuff like that, top surgery, bottom surgery. You'll see the scars, and you'll see why most of us are so adamant about this stopping. And they are the things that they're doing to adults, they're also doing to children. It's so freaking crazy. It's so rough. Thank you so much for your voice. We need many more of you. So I'm on here. And I think there are more people that are coming. I praise God. I work in a school district that refuses to allow this nonsense. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, the key word. Ding, ding, nonsense. Now, I want to know where this school system is, this school district, because I would like to highlight them. I would like them to applaud them, give them a pat on the back for not drinking the woke Kool-Aid. Thank you for not drinking the woke Kool-Aid. And thank you for everyone else who is in full support of this video. Thank you guys. Hey there, Internet. Welcome back to another edition of Nonsense. It's your boy Lee. And this father gave this woman, when she was a girl, the best advice a father probably could have given in the situation that she was in. Let's check it out.
Now that I have a kid, I literally cannot believe the balls it took for my dad to say this to me when I was in high school. When I was 16, I tried out for one of the best volleyball clubs in the country. And on the last day, they post what team you made. I made the second best team, which I can tell you was not the goal. I walk out of the gym, I get in the car with my dad, and I burst into tears. And he gives me a hug, and he lets me go on and on and on about how it's not fair and how I thought I was better than the girl who made the team that I wanted to make in my position. And once he let me be sad about it, he pulled away and he looked at me and he said this: maybe you were better than the girl who made the team in your position, but life's not always fair. You're gonna have to make yourself so good, they would look dumb not to put you on the top team.
And to most men who are watching this, that sounds 100% correct. 100%. And that is something, that I would have told my daughter. That, hey, you've got to be so good that it is more than obvious that you need to be on that starting team. That is logic. That is male logic. Most women don't have that. And don't get me wrong, women have logic. But most women don't start from a place of logic. They start from a place of emotions. Like she said there, when she got in the car, she immediately burst into tears. And a lot of moms would have told her, poor baby. They would have tried to console her by telling them that the coaches don't know what they're doing. I'm so sorry. Did you want to try another sport? Like everything around what the actual issue was. And the actual issue is that his daughter, this woman here at the time, just wasn't good enough. But he didn't say you weren't good enough. And so many words he said that, but he did say it in a way that made sense to her, and it helped and influenced her, and it stuck with her for her entire life. Listen to more.
And in that moment, he took my destiny out of what felt like it was in my coach's hands and put it back in mine. Mm-hmm. And to this day, if I ever feel like I'm blaming the algorithm, other people, whatever, for why I don't have the life or the results that I want, I think to myself, make yourself so good that literally none of that matters.
There it is. Look in the comment section. I needed this. Thank you. So Donna fully agrees. Makes me think of playing the violin. You don't practice until you get it right. You practice until you can't get it wrong. This person up there said the exact same thing. So my saying for my kids is don't get better, get better. Okay, somebody's gonna have to explain that to me because that doesn't make sense. Ray says he 100% agrees. Don't blame anyone. I have this done. I have done this. Sorry, I have this done. I have done this. Tried harder and got the results. Right? Needed to hear this. This was mediocre at best. Well, this was mediocre. I don't know about mediocre. So, finding rabbits is crazy. But I agree with him. So, great dad talk. So, absolutely great opinion. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have what you want in life, you got to work hard. You got to work harder. If somebody has something that you want, the life you want, I'm not saying take something that someone else has, but if they have the life you want, or there's a life that you have in your head or position that you want in your head, or you want to make a team, then you've got to put in the work to get it. It's not just going to be just handed to you. So we need to throw out this everyone gets a trophy business because that's not objective reality. It's really not. Hey there, Internet. Welcome back to another episode of Nonsense. I'm your host, Lee. And I am a big fan of Candance Owens. Now, just like most people, I don't agree with everything everyone says, but I do agree with this.
Let's just watch what the Muppet Babies is promoting today.
We met the most amazing princess, but they ran away, and all they left behind was this.
Everyone, there's something I need to tell you. The princess who came to your ball tonight was me. I'm Gonzarella.
But Gonzo, why didn't Vu tell us?
Because you all expected me to look a certain way. I don't want you to be upset with me.
This is nonsense. I gotta beat you to it, Candace. This is nonsense. Why is this not considered nonsense? How is this not a target and an attack on children? How is this? Like, we don't have, like, Fozzie Bear didn't come out as black, right? Miss Piggy didn't come out as Asian, right? Like, Kermit didn't come out as, I don't know what else. But my point is why this? Why this? Of all the hills to die on, this is the hill that we as Americans choose to die on. Corporate America chooses to force this down our throats. It's not just the adults with Bud Light and Target. It's with children's programming too. Peppa Pig fell in. Muppets Babies fell in. And I don't know how many other shows have bit the apple, have drank the Kool-Aid.
This is just, I mean, I look at this and we talk about it all the time. We talk about this. Nobody listened. The kids are definitely being attacked. This kind of messaging, if I was sitting here thinking that my child was watching something that was for children, looked around and saw them promoting the transgender, like I would go absolutely mad. And you realize they know that children's brains are developing. They want to know it's an option. Kids are monkey see, monkey do. Yep. So this to me is a direct attack on children. This is predatorial in my opinion.
And I agree with her 110%. Kids are always monkey see, monkey do. That's how kids are taught. Kids aren't taught the human language by reading books. They're taught it from their adults. When kids are taught to speak, they're mimicking what we do as adults. That's how that works. No child is born racist. It's taught. And I think it's the same. It's the same with this. If they can plant the seed in your child's head that, I may be a girl when I'm a boy, or maybe a boy when I'm a girl, if they've already started planting the seeds at a very young age, the age that children will watch this kind of programming, they've already got a leg up. Kids are taught these things. That's why they're after the children. Because the adults like Candace and myself are bucking the system. No, we're like, no, it doesn't work that way. So, if we can't get through to the adults, let's go after the kids. because they know that kids can be taught these things. Kids' minds are very malleable at a very young age. So it's obviously an attack on children.
My opinion. Let's just watch what the Muppet Babies is.
So we don't need to watch anymore. This is just ridiculous. Can we just leave the kids alone? Please. So for more nonsense, we're going into the golden age of women's sports. That's what it will be. It will be the golden age of women's sports if we don't do something to stop this madness.
So anyway, a man that became a woman decides to enter a powerlifting competition, sets the women's world record in her weight class at 275 pounds. A powerlifting coach at one of the universities, he's the coach, so he's a pretty big dude, went into and entered a competition and destroyed the world record and basically just came dressed as a dude because he's a dude. Didn't dress like it, didn't act like this. I'm a woman. They let him into the competition. He destroyed the record. The funny part about it is there was a little Instagram video about the guy that he's beat, and she was all complaining and crying about it.
So to the man, the powerlifting coach that joined that competition, I've got one thing for you. Thank you. Thank you. The whole reason why these people are joining is so that they can beat world records and try to really earn money, right? They want notoriety, they want fame, they want prestige, they want power, they want money. And if you let a real man join the competition and destroy them, they'll leave it alone. I think they'll stop. At some point, they'll be like, well, if the men can join, right? But you are a man. You are a biologist. You were born a man. Check your chromosomes. Check your chromosomes. You are a man. Men have a specific genome. Women the same. Just different. That's why we're born different. We have different bone density, different height, different strength. Like, we process things different mentally. So there's no way in the world that a woman would ever crush a man in these type of sports. It just won't happen. Even Serena Williams, as great as she is, the greatest female tennis player to ever play, she said, I can't beat men. I can't beat men. She played a man and she lost. So you can't be complaining about being beat by a man, sir, when you are a man. And sir, you are a man. I don't care how much makeup you put on, how you cut your hair, what you cut off of your body, what you sew on. You are still a man. Period. So clap to that guy.
It's unbelievable, right? I mean, it's just, to me, it's stop crying. It's what you just did to all the women that worked their whole lives to set that record. You come in as a man, parading as a woman, and you beat their record. So now a real man, because you're clearly not one anymore, came in and beat the shit out of your record, and you're crying about it. I think it's hilarious.
I do too. Ha ha ha. I'm laughing. I think it's hilarious too. But I don't think they should be allowed. They shouldn't be in it. Like, again, like I said in another video, and I think somebody had the same point. I think once a man is being allowed to enter into women's sports, all the women during that sporting event need to walk off and go home. They need to just remove themselves and be like, we're not going to compete. If you're going to let a biological man, biologically born man compete, we're not competing. We're not going to enter. We're not going to indulge you. We're not going to do it. We're not racing, we're not swimming, we're not lifting, we're not shooting any hoops, we're not doing any of it until you remove this biologically born man from women's spaces. Because in effect, we all know this. Men know this because men, we are pretty good at foresight. So eventually there will be no women's sports if we allow transgender men to continue to invade women's spaces. This is why men like this in the video and men like myself, we understand how valuable, how precious women are, which is why women have and need and deserve a safe space only for themselves, not people who transition into women. If you were biologically born a woman, you should be safe. And right now, it is not safe. It's not safe in bathrooms. It's not safe in locker rooms, in saunas, in spas, everywhere that women typically frequent that men are not allowed. They're allowing men who think they're women into these spaces, and bad things are happening. Even in high schools. Girls are being raped in high school. It's happening. We need to remove men from women's spaces, period, and not allow them in. No matter what you think, no matter what you feel, the objective truth is truth.